Hello everyone. Yeah, I'm a bit nervous because my internet is dropping every time, so I try to fix it. Welcome everyone. I'm playing now the intro tune like always. But I hope the live will continue in a fluent way for tonight. It's a different start. Welcome everyone. Hello, Darren James Spencer. Welcome on YouTube. Welcome here. So I will now play that song. And welcome to everyone. I hope you hear me. I hope my mic works. Yes. Welcome everyone. And as always, I start my live streams with one of my favorite songs from Facebook, copyright-free music. And I have to applaud Facebook for the quality. I really love it. So I hope Facebook you won't copyright strike me, because I want to promote the beautiful artists there and the creators. Welcome everyone. Hi Anja. And welcome for all greeting. And Anja says hello, Taro Ray and all dear people. And Darren says sounds good. Now, thank you so much. And I have my tea at hand, so while the music is playing, I will put it a bit down. Welcome everyone. And the chat is working. Oh, that is a relief. And also welcome everyone on Rumble, because Rumble works now in the live. So welcome you all. And I try to fix that the Rumble chat will also be visible on screen, but for now what I use is not working well. So I don't know why, but yeah, I have to let go. Like many times in the live stream, just let go and continue. I have one thing what is now in the way here. Well. Hello, Alice. Alice says good evening, Ray, and all fellow watchers and audience. Welcome, everyone. Yes, I made it extra in the stars, and also a backdrop here with the part of the jigsaw puzzle I'm now making. So, and it's 5,000 pieces. So I will wait a bit and put the music a bit more down while it's further on continuing and finishing the song. Welcome everyone. This is the English spoken live stream. Thank you also for understanding, for all my Dutch friends as well, who I see they start to even, yeah, I see more and more also in the chats that they also dare to talk in English and express in English. So thanks all for understanding that I decided one Saturday in English, the other Saturday in Dutch. These were the last tunes of the song Seize the Day, a wonderful song. For now, internet is running, so I let go of that, because before I went live it had all kinds of errors, and also on YouTube, so I don't know what's happening. But let's go for the positivity and that everything will work. I will also check Rumble. I hope I am live there. Let me check. Hi Delvertje. Delvertje also says good evening. It's all in Dutch for the people abroad. You see that weird language. It is Dutch. Welcome you all. Well, I have, should I say one of my favorite subjects? Yes and no, because it is very mixed. Like I already once for a pretty long time talk about the whole feminine and male balance in the world is, in my opinion, far out of balance. So I will maybe get to that after the break. and I will take a short break, maybe approximately 8:45 with the clock you see upstairs, I almost wanted to say. You see the clock, a timer up, and that is the Amsterdam time zone time. But if it's 8:45, then I will do a short break. Ganesha, hi, I have made it. Oh, Ganesha, yeah. Welcome at the start of the live stream. Welcome. Well, you see all the lights. It's a bit also, yeah. As I said, I will open up more in details about Disney, about what I came across in my programming and what it was for me to be programmed with my Monarch programming and my MKultra programming, but also my Black Ops programming. And as always, I start with a summary and updates about how I'm doing, also in my healing process. It is intense, and last Tuesday I had an English part and I did a Dutch part, and the Dutch part was okay, but the English part I started to realize that I was so mentally blocked like never before, and I could not even re-watch my live stream of Tuesday, and I'm not sure if I will keep it up, because at the other hand, I am how I am. So I show the programming and the deprogramming, and the programming I am still coming across, of course, which is the hard work, the hard inner work. And I even cannot always accept it the way it goes, because I am now since 2000, I am consciously deprogramming, and only from 2010, after I went to the USA, where I was abused, used, and then I found out when I came back that I was still being used at that time in my programming. And I truly believe that I still have not yet everything uncovered, and that was also where I bumped into last Tuesday, because there was still a personality who came forward to the surface during the live stream, by the way. So I am so grateful for doing the live streams, because they also trigger personalities in me. And that is not to scare off others who maybe start deprogramming and think like, oh, I will never go in and do a live stream or talk about my past. No, I mean it in the positive way. It is so healing every time, and it is not easy, not at all. Hey Ingrid, good evening, welcome for joining. And everyone on YouTube who is from the Netherlands, you can pause the YouTube. On YouTube you can pause my live and even do the settings on more slower tempo, speed, and also there appears to be a live, during the live auto translate. So for everyone who might be, yeah, the Dutch is a bit, I can understand fully, of course. So last Tuesday I was attacked by also a being, and I felt also that the attention from outside, from my former programmed world, my former programmers, or at least the people who tried to avoid that I was talking about skull and bones, and I was talking about the cube and about this mirrored cube above the pyramid, but also my Gizeh skull and bones introduction, or how you say that, initiation. And I was not allowed to talk about it. And many of you who are at least aware of skull and bones, it's a very scary, dangerous group, and I am very much aware of that. And I was part of that group in my deep state, MKultra, trance state and personalities, and I was not consciously taking part in all what they do, and that counts for all my programming. I then have to take care of my inner personalities, also of last week, and even before I went live this evening, another one showed up who was responding on the I would go live and talk about Disney. Because first of all, with Walt Disney, I am also encharmed by what has been created by Disney, and not even by Disney himself, but it is very complex to explain what my thoughts are about him, because I also know that he was not the most charming man, not to children either, and he was also racist. And it's not to emphasize on that, but that also a lot of families have a lot of joy and had a lot of joy in visiting these parks and these rides, these carnival rides, and I understand that it has an charming and beautiful way of also creating joy. And I wish that the whole Disney would have started in a purity of goodness, and that God was fully in that Disney park. And that makes me I'm really moved by that, because when I do my live streams, I specifically don't mention too many names. Besides, then lately that I mentioned Joseph Mengele, who was one of my main programmers, and he was truly evil, and he is now already for years no longer in a body. So I chose to talk about this, and as well about Walt Disney, because he's not alive any longer. But I do feel that I will stay careful in mentioning names. But so, yeah, it also moves me to talk about it, because it is so complex in me, because I had a daughter, Jennifer, and I did talk about her already in other live streams, and she will also have a main part in the evening tonight, for as far as I can talk about her, because she's no longer alive. And I have totally embraced that and her soul, and she's far better off not any longer living the life as Monarch slave, because she was in the Monarch training, and these were new resurfaced memories of mine, that she was also present in many of the programming, and the tortures was done to Disney, and specifically underneath Disney and Nevada desert. And it has and this whole framework of that, me and my daughter Jennifer were involved, and I already knew her from a baby, and I was allowed to bond with her from as a baby, because that's also what enslavement does. And MKultra, they want the motherhood. They always talked about motherhood, by the way. They never were, the programmers I'm talking about, they were never loving really and honoring the mothers of the children. And many children, of course, are without parents, and have become silent and made silent in underground facilities as well, of which I talked about already earlier in live streams. So for tonight I will also honor my daughter Jennifer, and what I can say is she was born on June 13th. I will not mention the name, but she's one of my daughters who I was very close to in the Monarch programming, and I sadly have no pictures of her. I did sketch her 2 times, and maybe one day I will show her how she looked like, because I could use my my gifts, which I was given by God, the Creator, to draw and sketch my experiences in the MKultra programming and the Monarch programming. And by the way, these notebook sketches I did share here in the live streams often, so you can go through my playlists on YouTube and on Twitch, where all my live streams I keep up, and there you see once in a while that I show some notebooks, but it's only a small percentage of what I can show, because the rest is or too private or incredible hard for me to show, because they also include the horrific tortures. And Els says, hi Els, as well, welcome. She says hi and a love and greetings. from her to everyone here. And this is so nice, you know, in this community of these chats here in the live streams. Thank you so much. You are all so loving and kind to each other. I say that every week, but it is so, I am so moved by that, because that is always and was always my, and will always be my main goal while I tell my story. I hope feeling will be back again in the world, and that there's goodness back in the world, goodness, real goodness and transparency and honest rulership. And yeah, love. You can say it's also love. Thank you, Yvonne, for the beautiful hearts, and Delvertje. Thank you also for the beautiful angel wings. Well, Jennifer will love it because she loved angels. She also, this is why I started with, for me it's very mixed, talking about Disney. And also hi to Nobby Nobble, by the way. I did see you come by. Welcome as well. That it is mixed, and I will never fully hate like the Disney parks. You have Disney World, you have Disneyland, of course. You have in Paris and in Japan. You have now also these Disney copies, and that's why I like to start and make my intro with that. I am not against the parks or the creation of beauty and love and the princesses. And I will also talk about the princess programming as well. And yeah, I almost wanted to start like also in Disney with, you of course have a wand, and I almost wanted to show this one like hello in the magical kingdom of Ray Elizabeth Wallace. But greetings everyone. And then I realized, like with the wands, that will also be a part of it, because the wands is originally also that you have the right of creating your own magic. And this is why I'm also so for the positive vibes in Disney. To prepare for this live stream, I also did educate myself a bit in diving deep in how Disney World is now doing, specifically in America. And I'd rather say America than USA. So USA is for me more co-op than the original America. So then you know that as well for the people who are new to me. So actually it is also my intention that it is also that magic, that it is not wrong to be in magic and to believe in magical wands. It is the original energy who tries to promote this, that when it's polluted, and that is the hardest thing. Like I had my programming and my princess programming. I will talk about that too, because that was part of having been programmed in these Disney parks. And there is, by the way, also a relation to Nevada desert, where was also brought a lot to giant rituals. And Nevada is linked to Disney, to the Disney park. And to come back to the Disney park, I still get mixed up to Disney World and Disney Park. So I apologize for if I mix up both the parks, but in my time, when I was very little, when I was brought there, yeah, they had these later on also these copies of these rides also in Florida and the other way around, and I still confuse these two places. So I will not specifically mention if it was Florida or Los Angeles, but I know it was in one of the original parks. That's the only thing what I know, and I should have looked it up, I know, but you know, that also makes my live stream the way I want it to be, that I'm not being, yeah, polluted is a harsh word for it, but that I won't be distracted by, oh, I should have looked it up, or oh, the facts are different. But you can look it up for sure, I guess, to know when that other park of Disney has been created or even expanded. I next time I will let you know. I have to put away one thing. So this is why I am also, yeah, very excited to talk about it. And yeah, before I went live, I was also a bit nervous because another personality came forward, and this is what is the hardest for me, I notice. I just want to be in the world already and to be whole and to create, yeah, the giant say no to evil, what I talk about since for the first time in life, I talked about this peaceful rise up of the people without calling up for any revolt or any how you say that with violence. No, I mean from within, and then with the voice saying no to evil. And it happens to be that it coincidentally will go all at the same time. That and the whole and it would be great if the whole world, the whole earth would do that just by saying no to evil, and just maybe literally stand up for the people who can, of course, stand up, and just walk out of the house, and then that we all say no to evil at the same time, and like one giant choir around the earth. Well, what would happen if, it's just a dream, I could be wrong, but it is. This is my dream, and again, I could be wrong. I have to say that. So I'm not calling up for revolt and for violence. I emphasize on that as well. Always know, and indeed, Ganesha. And hi, Sunbeam Sting, welcome. So, this is a bit the intro, and did I know? Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that Tuesday, that this is what I'm still digesting. Also that personality who is very fearful in what I will reveal this evening, because this is also a warning to everyone. I am showing more about what I was forced to do, and that it's possible that you hear more details than in other my live streams in general, because it's part of my story. So I decided I will do that for tonight. So, and another thing is, I can better be honest in that, because I felt also resistance already for a while to that you might see in my channel names, maybe you already saw it, that the S in Elizabeth is changing into the Z of Elizabeth. And yes, I make it myself very complex, and I wish I could now have this magical wand and let disappear the S of Elizabeth, but it is the Z of Elizabeth, and that is because I embraced my true mother and the womb I came from and my origin, and that is the Z and not the S. And I discovered and uncovered also, already a few months ago, but I wanted to prepare everyone for that my name again changes. That's me, hello, that's me. I am just a bit also crazy maybe, but nice crazy, I hope, and healthy crazy, that I will change the name Elizabeth to the Z. And this has, for me, personal reasons which I cannot express for now. But it is an immense joy for me, the Z, because the S was creating in me like the S of serpent. So the S kept me in the S of my former programming. And yes, that far it could go in my programming. Literally, letters of the alphabet were connected to personalities in me. And the S was obstructing as well for really being me as Ray Elizabeth. So it's for me very joyful, but I did something to myself in Elizabeth's full name with the S initially, because now I have my bio.link, and now I found out that I cannot change this bio.link from the S to the Z, and you have to pay for it. And this is another frustration, and I see Nobby Noble. What's What's your name again? Ray Elizabeth. Ray Elizabeth. Yeah, Elizabeth. Yeah, yeah. And the Z makes me very happy because you pronounce it the same, and you know many people, by the way, many friends. I mean, friends of mine sometimes also write it with a Z. So, yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. But yeah, Sunbeam Sting says, I have my chips ready and some mineral water. Ah, nice chips. Well, I will not eat in a live stream, but it sounds nice. Chips and mineral water. And I have my tea, so, and my wands. And I will get to that, the wand as well, because yeah, Disney without wands and princesses, well, no one can imagine, of course, Disney World or Disney Park without princesses. Good question, Ganesha. Thank you for that. Is it so important because it's a name? It's not you. Well, Elizabeth is me, is my original. Actually, even more for me than Ray. But I love Ray is short. Ray Elizabeth. It's what I've seen in the birth certificates. But I realized that the Z gives me a lot of energy, and it has also got to do with some initiations I have received from spiritual beings. And I can not go too deep into that because, as you know, there are also other eyes watching on me, and I mean then the also negative eyes on me. So I cannot go too much into that, and I wish I could share it with you all, but it is for me an incredible, since I have discovered that the Z belongs instead of the S. It was an amazing, an amazing initiation. But I can also, I can only give it words, you know. And further on, I have to keep these things private, the reasons for it. And Sunbeam Sting says Zorro, exactly Zorro, yeah, Zorro, and a kind of power. So. And now I see that that's what I can say is that it's connected to the Z. And what does Zorro? Zorro, he does this with the Z, like with a sword of, and he is a fighter for the good. So he wants to help the people who are in need of help, and the poor people. And he fought against bureaucracy. Bureaucracy. Oh gosh, I hope I pronounce it well. And Darren says, thank you. Yeah, you're welcome. If that is part of, I don't know where it was related to, so maybe from someone in the chat. To come back to my frustration, like, I already felt it coming when all these paid, like YouTube is changing. Yeah, people get more and more shorter concentration, attention curve to watch things, like these shorts. And you have, of course, TikTok, and I'm very mixed with TikTok. I am on TikTok myself, but I know the origin of TikTok, and this is. Should I go along with the flow and just go along and try to become visible? Because I would love to let my channels grow, but not that is the emphasis on it. So for me, it's not the primary reason that I go live. My going live is that I enjoy it for as long as I don't have a mental blockage or a mental block. But I like it. I like being with you. I love sharing my message of love, and that feeling is back in society, and honesty and true leadership, and a kind of royal leadership, because royal is also being polluted, and I see so many things being polluted and changed, and more, connected to money and prestige, but also money, like things you have to pay more and more for. for things who were free years ago. And yeah, I don't think we as society, but that's my opinion, go in the right direction. Also not in Europe. And I'm often saddened about it. So this is also the reason why I every time think I will go live, despite that I have sometimes am very nervous. Or today I had to deal with another personality who was scared of that I would talk about my experiences at Disney, at these parks and with the programming. So this is this is a bit the introduction. I will check on Rumble, and if I'm right, I hope now me going live also took care of that I'm now live on Infodela video news. So I hope that did work out. So I will check that now as well. I am live on Rumble. Yes, thank you for watching, everyone. For watching here. And the title is for today. I see the title did not change yet, but the title is about that I will talk about today about me being programmed for MKultra and Monarch programming, and specifically the programming in Disney and the parks there. So check in the Winnie if I am live there. Sunbeam Sting says, indeed Zorro helped the common man. Yeah, I loved always the Zorro television series, and as far as I know, this television show was not used in my programming. And many, to come back to Disney and Disney princesses, many of the Disney movies, actually almost all Disney cartoons specifically were used for my programming and in my programming, and I will talk about that too. Yes, I am live, also on Infodela and video news. Okay. So welcome everyone also there. Join me in, join me on Twitch, and I will add my bio.link. It should also show there. So one moment please, dear people. I will continue in a bit. I will write there, go to more interactive chats. Now you hear now the keyboard. I apologize for my loud keyboard. Go to more interactive chat. And still the Elizabeth with the S. And this is what I mean. My bio.link is not accepting me to change the S in the Z. So it is, yeah, well, okay. But I will not complain about that. So, okay. Alright, that's done. I am on Twitch now. So, how is everyone doing? Before I start with, start giving the start of the programming and a bit of timeline, because if I talk extendedly about the programming, the full programming and in full details, then I will not be even ready tomorrow morning. So I have to make, of course, I have to make also a decision to, of course, do a bit detailed, but a timeline. So I hope you understand. Nobby says, Elizabeth, their United Kingdom with the King, they play in my English Isle. They're all anti-human with their knights and all. I understand what you mean, Nobby, but I think it's for me, that was a huge realization of last month even, that I started to realize that it for me made it even more simple, but it was just my process, my inner process and growth. That the most important is that I love that term, like that God and creation, true creation from the heart and true love for each other, that is back into the world and into leadership. And that is for me what I found more and more the primary thing. and to chase out the demons from everyone, and to help also others who are demonized, and to give some handles to create something that people also are invited to let go and don't feel threatened, and that these people from the deep state who are, for example, in the bloodlines, that they also start to realize, hey, we can join in and we will not be we will not be murdered or punished, you know. And I think it is, for me, even more, has become more important than ever, that is for me my main message, or message. I don't want to preach. So oh gosh, I will look at the chat. Yvonne says, I'm doing fine, thanks. Nah, thanks for answering it, Yvonne. Thanks. Great, you're doing fine. Always good to hear. Sunbeam Sting says, also doing good, thanks. Okay. Also great that you are doing good. Sunbeam Sting makes me think of Lego creation. Interesting. Lego creation. Well, Lego, that's interesting, because Lego was heavily put in my programming as well. So the Lego, and I love the Lego games, but I started to play them only after I was deprogrammed. So, and I do like them, but Lego was also used. And I watched of recent a very interesting documentary on YouTube. YouTube, which is still free to watch for now. I hope YouTube will learn from that, it stays to its basics, you know, that it is for creators who are not. I am not live streaming because I want to earn. I just want to live stream because I want to get my story out. I hope YouTube will get back to the roots of why YouTube, YouTube from the start. YouTube, it's our tube, it's our way of expressing, and I truly hope that the commercial stuff will not win. But and I do understand the people who want to make ads, but you can create something else that it's not disturbing in the middle of a sentence of someone in the mid video. Oh my gosh, I ranted about that already in earlier live stream. I will quit with that for now. Delveltje, I received a Christmas parcel with goodies today. I almost forgot to collect it. Very special on the 3rd of February. Yeah, wow. And did you already open it? Or goodies? If I read well, then you already then you already know what's in it. Sunbeam Sting, you have even sets called Lego Creations. Ah, now I know what you mean. Yes, there are so many versions of Lego. And Sunbeam Sting, YouTube brood kost jezelf. Lol. Oh yeah, I don't know how to translate that, Sunbeam Sting. Maybe you can translate it, but I don't have the words for it now. So, okay, so now I will go into the programming of when I was in these Disney parks and Disney World. Well, I talked in the beginning already about my daughter Jennifer. Let me begin with her. She was born on the 13th of June, somewhere in the 80s. That's the only thing what I can say. She was one of my first daughters. I was able to keep, or that I was allowed to meet her in certain times, and this was specifically done. She was also chosen. By the way, this is in between, but because I read 2 books of other survivors of MKultra and Monarch programming, and interesting that they both had daughters who were named Jennifer. And I am very intrigued by that. What's in the name Jennifer? I should have looked up what the meaning is of Jennifer. Hey Jane! Hey! Hello dear friends, welcome! Welcome! I was about to start about my programming in Disney World and Disney parks. Sunbeam Sting, YouTube bread crust yourself, lol. Yeah. And Delveltje said, yes, I did open the goodies. Lots of cookies and potato chips, all biological, and a shopping bag of bio cotton. Oh, sounds great. Again, chips. I saw already earlier chips come by, I think from Sunbeam Sting, but greetings, Jane, and for everyone, please also follow this dear friend, Jane. She has a lovely YouTube channel. She's also being shadow banned and attacked heavily, so you can support her as well by subscribing to her channel. And she's on Facebook as well. Jane, Jennifer, I wonder what it means. Yeah, exactly. It occurred to me that Jennifer, a few who had a daughter, Jennifer. So also of the writer, the author of Transformation, I forgot her name. She also has a daughter, and this daughter had a catatonic attack because the daughter was not allowed to remember. That's very interesting. Sunbeam Sting, indeed, chips are already eaten, lol. Okay. Yvonne, we have 2 boys. If one of them was a girl, we had the name Jennifer. Yeah, well, Jennifer, I love the name, but yeah. And I forgot, I promised, for my inner motherhood, because I was a teenager when I got Jennifer, when Jennifer was born, and I wanted to add here to my background the Hello Kitty, which you sometimes see in live streams, and then you know why, because a link. Yes, Darren James, very good, very good. I will put it in. Let me see. I will go to YouTube. It's the same name if you look up Jane Celia Hedge. That's also her YouTube, but I will look it up. I will put your link, Jane, for people if they want to follow you. Jane Celia Hedge. Okay, copy link. Here it is. Okay, I think now it should go everywhere with the link. Yeah, you're welcome, Jane. Okay, so to go back to Disney, for me, with the Disney, it's intertwined with my daughter Jennifer. This is also why I mention it. And if I start to feel that talking about my daughter is too much for me, then I also will know my own borders, and I will feel from within when I don't want to and cannot do that any longer, because the emotion starts then to come to the surface. But yeah, I have already a lot of healing done with her specifically. And my other children, that's a more difficult thing. Like I had a son which was called Mickey, Mickey, and Mickey is of course the same name as Mickey Mouse. And that was a very dear son of mine, and I cannot talk about him, only mention his name. And further on, I have already tears in my eyes, so I will stop talking about him. One thing what I can tell about him was that in a ritual that he was at the cross, and they were planning kind of making an end to his life, to his young life, and he was 5 years old, 4.5, 5, almost 5 years old. And there were 2 guards, and I talk a lot of them that, well, I never heard other MKultras or Monarchs, by the way, former Monarchs, talk about eunuchs. And in my case, there were always eunuchs present, and they were like giants. They couldn't speak, and they were very big and pretty young. But these guards, 2 guards, were trying to prevent me, and I was breaking out of my personality, and one of my black ops and together with my motherhood came forward, and I took a knife from one of these guards and chopped in his wrist. And motherhood whose child is endangered, then a wolf, or how you say that, a lioness is coming forward, and I experienced that, and I still see in all details how that happened. Yeah, it is very mixed. I have a very mixed feeling about it, because I am not a violent person from within, from my own being, who I am. And this is what I often say. This is also why I also was a bit doubting, should I talk more extendedly about these Disney experiences, because they're intertwined with children I got. Because to come back to and Delvetje also says, never touch my children. Exactly. I think maybe I can say that it is a healthy feeling, certainly of mothers and also of fathers, to protect their children. It should be a very natural feeling. But of course I regret that I did that action, because it did not change anything. I was only more punished later on, and still had to see my 4.5-year son die on that cross in the most horrific way, which I cannot now produce how and what happened more. But it is good to come back to Disney. Ganesha says also, our children all already in touch. Yeah, children are the future of our world. This is why I will always love every child, and this is why I believe am alive. That it's because of dear friends who died, who told me, we know you will survive. We know that you can survive. We know that you will. And I must say, I still don't really understand. I do understand on spiritual level, on feeling who I am, why I survived, but at the other hand, I'm also amazed that I'm still talking here and doing these live streams. And it amazes me at times as well. Nobby, us English folk are fighting those British UK Fabians with their king. Yeah, I have to get used to your language, Nobby. But it is about that justice is back into the world. And as I said earlier, that God, in my opinion, it should be God or the Creator, that it has at least, again, a center point in our lives. And not specifically that it has to be named God, but just goodness and true leadership, true harmony with all our differences, because nothing is perfect. I'm not perfect. No one is perfect. I myself am also imperfect. I bump into, like in this life here, with living with the three of us here in a not really small house, but it's pretty crowded at times. Then we also bump into each other's spaces. I am also human. I'm also, and also these other persons who live here. So it's very normal to have differences and tiny, sometimes conversations and expressions. I think that's only healthy. But you know what I mean with true rulership and leadership and the whole earth. So now I will start, or try to start, to make that it's a bit also, that it's a timeline as well in this whole Disney programming. One of my first contact with Disney was family of Disney. So there were two men, and they told me that they were family of Walt Disney. And there is a question popping up of Delvetje. Thank you for the question, because I love questions, as you know. Do you think there is a pure, true king left? Good question. I have to smile, but I get goosebumps. That's the only thing what I can say. But That's a good question. I think that what a true king concerns, that it can be in anyone. And I believe that the creator's purpose was that, yeah, the word king would be not used as that the king has an upper task, to level, like levels, being the one with power. Now I think it was meant for creating that you are your king or your queen in and of yourself, so that you can be proud of yourself, who you are in the origin. And maybe that's a bit the best to understand. But I think there are pure, or what is pure, but yeah, as long as as they are in contact with God and the Creator and the true purpose of their life and the goodness, I think that's also a short answer for that. Jane, oh, interesting question. Indeed, Jane, yeah, indeed. But a great question, Delvertje. Very interesting as well. Nobby, England, a Christian country for over 1,000 years, then those UK British lot came around and started their destruction in 1707. Isn't it interesting? The 1707, these numbers. My birth date is 17 and my favorite number is 7. No, I'm kidding. But there is a lot going on with hidden bloodlines and original bloodlines and original connection to God and the Creator, and it has been also with incest in royalties, also in royalty families and in bloodlines. And I hate the word bloodlines myself, but you know what I mean. It's, for me, everyone is the same, and it's about what you radiate and what you try to be. A good, just a simple, not simple, because we are all beautiful, great people. We are not simple people. But yeah, well, you know what I mean with simple. I know, I guess. But yeah. Delvertje, only the king of pop, of course. Oh, for me, I would immediately create a throne for him. No doubt at all. He would be a great king. Yeah, and I mean that. But yeah, I love that guy. He's the one and only. Forever. And he knows that, and others can find me crazy, but he's my buddy, he's my man, he's everything for me. And I knew him, and many of you don't believe me. I don't care. I know from within, he is one of the most unique persons ever lived this planet. For me, dot. So, and I feel his spirit, because someone should also stand up for him. He's so being attacked still. Yeah, I'm still angry. Yeah, this is an interesting live stream. I just cannot get into the subject, I think. But Sunbeam Sting says, indeed, good question, Deltje. Yvonne, my date is 16 minus 10. 1 plus 6 is 7. 10 is 1, so it's also 17. Ah, interesting. 17, yeah, it's one of my favorite numbers, but everyone has a favorite number. So, yeah. Okay, so to come back to the beginning, when I was only very, very little, so then you have to think about me being a toddler and so on, that already when I was very little I was taught the princess programming, and then I talk about Monarch programming. The MKultra programming is a term which I use, and I stand fully behind that term. But for me, I had a far more complex and more layers in my programming. I had Delta programming, I had MKultra programming, I had Super Soldier programming, I had Black Ops programming, I had Galactic programming, I had Monarch programming. Now, with galactic programming is that I had galactic language put inside of me, and I have in my notebooks a whole page of that I only wrote symbols, and at times That's also part of my initiations lately, that I see more and more formulas and that I'm traveling out of my body, and then in the galaxy I see all these sequences of numbers and signs and galactic language. One of the galactic language is, I wish I could sketch it for you all, but I can maybe draw it in the air. It's a bit like a blob, little puppet, like a bit an egg, which is smaller at the top and a bit broader at below, and then it has little feet, very tiny in a shape, in a degree, in a 95-degree shape. And this was one of the signs in my galactic language. Well, you know, to come back to Disney, Disney has also Star Wars in his rides and adventure park. I believe it's part of the adventure park. Well, Star Wars is very interesting because I had in my programming Princess Leia, but Princess Leia was put in me when I was a teenager. And when I was very little, I was taught to become a tiny little princess. And this tiny little princess, I was then guided into to get a wand in my hand, and that wand had the same shape what you see also in parks, and also not only in Disneyland and parks, but you have in the Netherlands you have an amusement park which is called the Efteling, and it is created by Anton Pieck, and he was a very famous Dutch author and he sketched books with leprechauns, and he created beautiful creatures, and I truly believe that he was also very sincere. That's my feeling, because the Efteling, I was programmed in the Efteling as well, and that was the programming which is related to Disney parks, which was it's a small world after all, it's a small world after all. Do you know that song? I believe even people maybe in the Netherlands know that song. Well, this is the sad part of in my programming, that this song was created to when I would meet other princesses who were created specifically in the Monarch programming related to Disney parks, that they would then know, because the song is about it's a small world after all. Actually, this song took care of it, that us princesses shaped in Disney, that we would never ever allow anyone else contact us in our princess programming. So this song took care of it, that we would never ever meet. So if our programming would break, then this song was ideal to being played like in Disney. And with my programming, I ended my programming always with that song and a ride, which was it's a small world after all. So it might, and I say that maybe to warn people who might have MKultra or Monarch programming, and it could be a sign of that you could have this programming, is that you're an incredible fan of Star Trek, Star Wars, and a fan beyond everything of all Disney princesses and addicted to the Disney movies. It doesn't say that you're then an MKultra, but it could be one of the alarm signs. So I would be very careful. I'm also careful in saying that it is 100% the case, but maybe it might help some people who maybe feel like, could I have a hidden programming, or my daughter or son, because also male programming was done in Disney, and they had the prince programming, but also princess programming. Sadly enough, this is connected to what I was programmed at in Disney. In Disney you have a street, and also in Universal Studios you have these famous street Like in Disney, you have the famous street, I forgot the name now, but that you then walk towards the Disney fairy tale palace, castle. And in a Universal Studio, you have also street which looks like European street, like European French cafe, and so on and so on. Well, to walk that street was for me very important in my programming and with that specific scenery. It's ideal for programming because this main street in these parks were not supposed to ever change. And that it's also great for programming children when they are little, because when they are also older and when these personalities are being created, then the street is the same, the main street is the same. Like in Disney Park, you have a street and there you have the hidden apartment of Walt Disney, and he created that actually for his wife, that his wife could retreat there, and he was there as well, but his wife was there overall. He did created it for his wife, and that she would then be able to be there in secret. And yeah, this secret apartment there, that's an example of that. For many people it's magic, and it is so great, and for me I only have horrific memories there. That one part of the programming was that in that apartment, that it was of course not programmed by Disney himself because he was no longer alive, but by what was told to me, that there were family members and handlers and who were acting accordingly and to what my programmers were telling them. And you have these punishments in early school days, in already early 1900s here in Europe, that you had this large measurement, actually also kind of wands, but how you say that, a very wooden stick, and then there were measures on it. A measure, how is it called? Maybe you, Jay, know that if you're listening, or someone else from USA or English. A ruler. Oh, thank you so much, Delvertje. Yeah, of course. This is an example. I know that word and I cannot produce it while I'm talking in the flow of my story. And that if I did not accordingly or didn't give the right answer, then they swapped that ruler on my fingers, and it was in a very specific way done. Like the most painful thing is when it was hit on my knuckles. Is that the right word? Of the joints, and then sometimes it was my little finger, my pinky finger, and my pinky was related to personality. Her name was also Pinky, or Repelstiltje, Rimpelstiltje, and also that little boy. I think it was a boy or a girl in that fairy tale who had to search for the crumbs to find the way home. I forgot the name, but I try. You see, this is what I mean. There is so much details in how my programming was done in Disney, because it was the start of when I was introduced as well to other handlers and for the Monarch programming, because I was very little. And these family of Disney, I also can exactly describe how they looked like. And it was like in the 60s movies where they had these long coats, actually, which you see in these older detective series like Columbo, and then with a fedora hat, and then a very secret smile, and very harsh face, and in the shadow that I hardly could see their faces. And these two were specifically there also for the first time introducing me to certain people, also to musicians. And that was near the Disney grounds, and that was a house, what these family of Disney told me, and that was in America, close to the Disney park, and that they told me that it was the house of once owned by Walt Disney. So again, Walt Disney did not live at that time any longer. But I'm scrolling now through the chat because I love your chatting, of course, and interactive chat. Sunbeam Sting says Star Wars universe also has its own universal language. Yes. And also Star Trek Klingon. By the way, many Monarchs and MKultras and also Super Soldier programming has the Klingon language as secret language for personality alters. That's ideal to also keep these personalities hidden. Hello Tineke Jessie, welcome! She says hello all freedom fighters. Yeah, always nice for you, yeah, to see you here. Yvonne says yes, I know that song. And Jane says also yes, I know that song. They love to damage us. Well, yeah, also the mind control is of course also in a bigger shape, even more, yeah, it has grown of course, in my opinion also even last years, I still feel it's a threat, this mind control in the world. And yeah, I'm still worried. I'm not in panic mode, not at all, but I am worried, and I think that is yeah, for me that feels healthy to also look at, okay, I'm very cautious in what is now happening in the world. And you know, I talk a lot about China, and it's not to point the fingers to one country. But I have seen, and I wish some people from from America who has some influence in the positive way would listen to my live stream and believe me that I have seen Chinese secret army already entering America through the west coast and the east coast. I saw it, the west coast I mean, north, east, south, west. Yeah, the west coast. So, yeah, this I've seen it. And already in the 90s. So, what's happening there? Jane, is the entire Disney empire really about MKultra? About MKultra and child trafficking? The original, and I'm sad to say, because I need to speak out, because like Walt Disney, the people who knew him from a close know that he was a harsh man and very racist. He hated black people. And yeah, but I don't want to damage children who believe in a certain magic. But this is where I always bump into when I do my live stream, specifically when I speak out publicly. I don't want to damage the true joy of being there. And but yeah, that is part also of my second part, to try to voice how I look at the woke term, which I don't like to use myself, but in this case most people know what I mean with that. It's related to that. I feel if the root is being cleansed, then also, like for example the Disney park can put, yeah, can be put back alive in a kind of beautiful, inspiring way, you know. So that is what is important. Rumpelstiltskin, exactly, Rumpelstiltskin. Oh, that was heavy programming in me. And that was related, to come back to the princess programming, also to Doornroosje. I forgot what it is in English, but it is about the princess who poked her finger against the wheel to make some wool. How is that called in English? That's what I really don't know. Maybe I do, but for now I don't. And then she yeah, got stung by this wheel, and then she slept for 100 years. Sleeping Beauty! Ha! Yeah, of course, Sleeping Beauty. Let me see. Okay. Hansel and Gretel, yeah. Oh, I will go with Rapunzel. I agree with you, says Tineke Jessie. Yeah. You don't have to say Tineke Jessie when you are going to the little room, huh? You know that. But it's a trusted chat room here, so Sleeping Beauty, exactly. So now I'm updated with the chat. So to come back to that princess programming, every Monarch programming, and I mean that every MKultra, every basics of the Monarch programming is that as little as possible that the legs and the arms needed to be put out of the joints. And I had that programming myself, and Joseph Mengele, he put me in a box. You know these boxes where you see these baby girls, and even for me it's still triggering when I see these giant boxes with giant toddler dolls, and they resemble very like it's in reality. Then I cannot help myself, but I'd rather walk by. Yeah, that is still in me, hurting me, because it reminds me of that I was put in a box like that, and I remember that I was put in a open closet in Joseph Mengele's back room. He had two rooms. One was divided into these slide doors with beautiful glass and load, with beautiful glass windows. And then I was put in that box, and then I was in that state because of these joints were pulled. That I was pulled, the disjointed legs and arms, and that I had to be in that frozen state like I was a doll, and that was a doll programming. Well, this doll programming was basic also to get the porcelain programming or the doll programming when I was heading for example, the Disney park. And when I was heading there, so to get a picture, for example, I had my front life in the Netherlands. Well, the Netherlands in the front life, it doesn't mean that when I was living the front life and I was speaking Dutch fully, etc., but I was there abused as well, sexual abuse, SRA, SA, all kinds of abuse, and specifically by the granddad. And there was family involved, my own front parents. I will never ever blame them. I will send them love, and I hope they get healed in wherever they are. And that I also had a hidden princess programming in the front life, and that was connected to the Efteling. So the Efteling is an amusement park in Brabant, in the Netherlands. You can look it up on YouTube, and it's a beautiful park. So nothing bad about that. So, but I will now focus on Disney. So my front part also had hidden layers with princess programming. But the basics were these frozen porcelain and the doll programming with these disjointed legs, which I did not have to endure only one time, but several times, because that needed to be fully encased in my mind in the tiny bit of these many personalities, like an onion or like a babushka puppet, like that the inside would be totally surrounded by a doll, a babushka doll, then the next one, then the next one, then the next one, then the next one. And you can imagine if I had, for example, 20 to 13 layers around that center of that as a babushka doll, then it's even harder to ever break through to that source and that core of mine, that core split, who was in total consciousness and never wanted to hurt people, never wanted to act accordingly to the programming, etc. So again, that example of babushka puppets. So then I was brought from the Netherlands via the underground tunnels, many times through the underground tunnels, and I was within half an hour, I was at the east coast of America, and then 1 hour, and yeah, I also have memories of 1 hour and a half, but then I was at the worst northeast southwest. I always am mixed up with the directions, and that's also a remain of the programming, that sometimes when I say things, then I still feel a bit the inner wall of the former programming, so I apologize for that. Yvonne says it is in Kaatsheuvel. Exactly, that is Brabant, isn't it? North Brabant, that's a kind of province-like name, if it still exists, Kaatsheuvel. It feels very, it was very long time that I was at the Efteling, that amusement park. So it started then in the Netherlands, so then I was brought through the underground tunnels very easily and very quickly to the USA, to America, where I was brought to the Disney park. And I do remember that I was the majority of times in the Disney park at Los Angeles, because Los Angeles, there's also Hollywood, and it was also connected to movies and the Disney studios, which is, I believe, also part of the Disney park, and it's such a giant land. It was then already giant, and so I was brought there to a certain point where I would be put in another personality, but the basic was the porcelain doll programming, who had to feel like Frozen. And yeah, maybe you understand now why the movie Frozen, I was very mixed with that, and the song Let It Go, I don't know if it was used for my programming, but I had to do a lot of effort to get rid of that song out of my head. It was on and on and on and on. What is can be a very programming language, which I will not say now, but when it's repeated 3 times, like round and around, and then 3 times, then it's also programming. But I never liked that song. And I don't know if it was the programming which should have triggered, or that the programming did hit me, but didn't become active, because I watched that movie Frozen when I was already deprogramming. So I don't think it triggered a programming in me, but it did trigger that I could hear, so it was entered in my head. And I was so tired of hearing on repeat this letting go, and yeah, and then I felt also a bit lonely in opposite of all the world and the people who loved that movie. And it's a beautiful artfully way done. I mean, I also saw the movie, so, and this is another example of how crooked it is to be also a former MKultra and Monarch slave, because I am still to this very day being triggered, not any longer that then suddenly programming, or that I lose time, or that a personality pops up and takes over. That's no longer happening for years now. But it's still painful to feel how vulnerable I still am in that. So yeah, I did also not watch the latest Disney movies. That counts as well for, it's not related to Disney, but I came across again the Barbie movie. And did it have even prizes or an award? And I watched the beginning of that Barbie movie, and I was immediately triggered, and I knew this is being used for programming. So yeah, I'm very sad to say, it's very sad to say, but for anyone who has programming, please don't watch that movie. Or you have to know what you're looking at, and you want to deprogram with it. But the Barbie movie is definitely created to call up personalities, and specifically to trigger the Humpty Dumpty programming. And it is about that the Humpty Dumpty programming is that porcelain doll programming as well, and that Humpty Dumpty, that he drops that symbolizes the head, and that the head is vulnerable when you drop off a wall, and that then the head explodes in fragments, and that even the king and the horseman can never mend his head again. Well, that's nice for inner personalities. It's also nice for children who watch this movie at the start. You see children, and in the animation, I believe, or are they real children? But you see that in the beginning of the movie, they smash porcelain dolls against rock. I was triggered immediately, and then I knew I will not watch it. And besides that, I saw, it's so, I'm sad about it. And this is why I thought, well, I mentioned that too. I know I already talked about it in an earlier live stream, maybe the Dutch one, I don't know. But it really bothers me that this is still happening. And I'm angry about it as well. But it's maybe I can prevent someone from being triggered, and even children, the children's minds who are watching that, who are vulnerable or did SA or SRA. It is. I'm really curious if you watched that movie or what you think about it, but it's hugely being applauded, and I was thinking like, I didn't like it at all, besides that it was supposed to trigger me. Sunbeam's thing, in the movie Barbie, they already have multiple types of Barbies, and indeed personalities, exactly. And Ken, by the way, the personality Ken, why is the Barbie man named Ken? Ken is also heavily used. I met many male Monarch programmed ones who had a personality who was named Ken. And I also had a Barbie programming and some names of Barbie, and then I had to wear a wig, and I had to act as if I was like a puppet. It is a flexibility programming, and it's all related to what I was talking. I will go back to Disney. So when I was brought there, I go back to when I was a small child, and when I was introduced already when I was very little with these two family members of Disney. And there was also a ride in Disney which is called Splash Mountain. Now I feel in my head headache. So I know that I'm now hitting these memories and that personality I was talking about. And I am very open in that always, that if I feel a mental block, then I also express that. Like last week on Tuesday, it was for me the toughest live stream ever. I hardly could even keep my eyes open. So for this live stream, I prepared myself in a better way to guide that personality. But I do feel in my head a certain headache coming up, because the Splash Mountain, I had horrific memories of Splash Mountain. Like with these rides on Disney Park, they look like, I mentioned the main street with that secret apartment of Walt Disney. And I don't know if you know that, but that secret apartment of Walt Disney, which he created for his wife, as I told earlier, there is a light burning, and when Walt Disney was there, that was actually for the people, for insiders, that when through the main street, you were walking through the main street in the evening, and then when that little light was turned on, then people who knew about it, that Walt Disney was there, was present on that secret apartment. But by putting a light on, which was always there, the light on or off, when I saw that light on, it freaked me out. Because, as I said, Walt Disney was already he passed over. But this light was used for my programming. So if I was in the evening, because that was often in the night or early morning or late evening when I was in the park, when of course no one else was there, to be clear about that. I was being programmed and being tortured there when there were no visitors. And of the cast members, there were some of the cast members who were in themselves in Monarch MKultra programming, but the daytime cast were never in the nighttime. They were separately, and it's all about separation, like a pyramid structure. So the layer on top does know the layer below, but they are more into the deep state, and then you have these layers, and it's about dividing. That's the best way to keep things also hidden and secret. And it's no mystery, it's no secret that underneath Disney park there are tunnels, many tunnels, and there is also a direct straight direction straight to the Nevada desert, of which I talked about earlier. I will go through the chat. Noord-Brabant says, Yvonne, indeed, the Efteling. Tineke Jessie, in very old cities have they old buildings and tunnels? Yes, as well also buildings and tunnels, yes. Okay, alright. Sunbeam Sting, Mickey, his name mirrored in water spells out wicked. Ah, yeah. Yeah, there is many hidden symbolism also in the Disney movies, but you will, I mean, it's being presented even on YouTube, these hidden movies. And also there is an old Mickey, I think it was Mickey or Donald cartoon, which you can see how racist Walt Disney was. And yeah, I was heavily programmed in that as well, also in Disney, by the way. Disney was perfect because you have all kinds of rides there. Splash Mountain was heavily used in my programming. There's the It's a Small World After All, which I already mentioned. Star Wars programming also at a certain point, past the 70s. There was another one which was, I don't know if that is still active. I think that part of the park was even closed off, but there was a part of which you had animals, like you were going through a jungle country and also through water. And in that water you saw then a crocodile rise up, like it was can you imagine when I was at night in a small boat, and I was not in the boat, but I was very little. You have to think about that I was an older toddler, maybe 3 to 4 years old. Yeah, it's hard to prove, but I was, in my front life, I appeared to be just very average. But in the programming, I was early with my speech. I was early with walking. So I was very early, already very physical, ahead of other children of my age and toddlers. I cannot prove that, but I know it's a given fact of what I know from other survivors that can be the case. So can I prove it? Well, I still hope one day that a former deep state who knows me dares to. I would applaud him or her who would come forward and tells me and the world, like, I recognize you from that past, and that we then can shake hands, like you might have been a programmer or handler or part of the deep state, but you have come back to the truth, to your true you. And that would be amazing for me if that proof of who I am. Oh gosh, yeah, it's a wish of mine, a hard wish of mine. But what was I talking about? Oh yeah, Splash Mountain, and that island of which that was a ride, and you had then a water circuit. And in that water circuit there were boats, and they were of course all part of the mechanics there, and the automatrix, how you call that, these robotical machine-like, and that they had a skin of later on, of course, artificial plastic, and that yeah, they were also more and more advanced. What you saw, that automatrons, I think they are called. But can you imagine? I was 3, 4 years old. I was with a rope around my waist, and then I was put with a rope behind the little boat, which was doing that ride, and I was put in the water, and then the boat was doing that ride, and then during that ride, and a crocodile suddenly popped up, which was not a real crocodile, but yeah, I was a child. It scared me. It scared me incredible. And at times, this was not the only torture and the way of that they programmed me, but now and then the man in the little boat then also pulled my head underwater, and that had a feeling of that I was choking, and or suffocating or drowning. And this drowning procedure I had to undergo already from when I was even I have memories from when I was 1 year and a half, when I was put in an aquarium, and that I also was forced to feel how I would drown. I was also buried alive. Well, rides like this in a park, which is giant, that park, and with the tunnels underneath, and in the hands of also people who were totally, um, yeah, serving Satan and Lucifer as well, because they were also Satanists and Luciferians. That was ideal place to program and torture. And these tunnels below, I have seen, maybe that was already a few years ago, that I've seen a YouTube video of which now the secrets came out from these underneath tunnels, of which the cast members of Disney would then go for the changing rooms and so on, and they could then easily walk from one point of the park to the other one, but they were ideal for programming. It was also Disney had a two-sided face, Walt Disney, so he was then I hate that statue of him in Disney Park, where you see him beautifully being staged as the friend of children. Another thing, I see also the name Mickey come by, and as I said earlier, I had a son who I lost when he was almost 5 years old. He was 4 and a half. Yeah, he was close to 5 years old, and that I lost Mickey, and he was also part of. Well, you all must have heard about Mickey Mouse Club. Mickey Mouse Club and these round ears. It is a hidden symbolism. It is also to ridiculize humanity, like I was ridiculized with monkeys and black men overall. And to talk about my children, I also have a couple of children who were coming from that I was experimented on with my fertility, let's say it like that, with my eggs, and that they were also mixed with other races. And I apologize if I say black people, but I don't know how to say otherwise. I hope I don't offend anyone. It's not my intention to offend anyone, because for me every skin color doesn't matter. I by the way I find these people beautiful. So it is the most beautiful people from with darker skin. So but that's my preference. I love that. So I apologize if I offend someone. Maybe I still try to find another term for it, but again I apologize. Sunbeam Sting says, I had a friend of mine that worked for the city of Haarlem in the Netherlands, and under that city they have a lot of underground tunnels all the way to Amsterdam and Zandvoort. He had to draw them, and after they were locked with heavy doors. Yes, underneath the Netherlands, yeah. There are so many tunnels that I'm amazed that there are no sudden, how you say that, sudden holes in roads, or that sinkholes. but they are very well made. Actually, the whole architecture and the masonry, the masonry of built buildings. How do they call that? Is that Masonic? The Masonic art? I think it's called Masonic art. Hey, that's the masonry. I hope I pronounce it well. And yeah, they are very well built. Very great architecture. And many of the architecture is also been lost also of when the giants were here on Earth. And yes, they did exist, giants. They were a part of society at one time. And Sunbeam Sting says Disney uses a lot of animatronics in his parks. Yes, yeah, a lot. Still do. And there is also a ride, or is it called a ride? But you have these performances, and I saw that now a very old Disney attraction, which is about bears, and I think it's country music, and you see then bears very cutely dance, and it's very beautifully done, and it's one of the original, I think, and it's called the Bear. I forgot now the name of it, that ride, but that was also the bear programming, and then all dressed in dresses, and the same, and that hit the programming in me to come back with the ears and the Mickey Mouse Club, and many of the Mickey Mouse Club came forward and told that there was heavily sexual abuse in their clubs, and I can see it also on the faces of these children. By the way, also with these ears, these Mickey ears that had a double purpose, because if you would see the shape of it, for example, without the so as a shadow, then you would see these round ears, and it still gives me the creeps when I see Mickey Mouse ears, or if I see in Disney parks people walking with these ears. And again, it's not against these people, but I then feel that is still the remain of what I was forced into with that programming. Yeah, but I accept it. One day I want to go back to Disney. So, and I'm very curious how I will respond. But there's another thing happening in Disney at the moment. I did some investigation or watched some people who know the ins and outs about Disney, but apparently they are losing money in even the billions of dollars, because of what they produce, and that it has a poor quality. So the park is, sadly enough, it is also a bit sad, but it's decaying to, less quality, less, how you say that, service to the tourists and so on. And this is also the link to what I wanted to talk about, the woke theme. And I see now, to my very shock, that it's 9:11, so I should get to the break a few minutes. So I forgot. So here is the girl with the coffee cup. And I am going for a break. I say it again now. I am going for a break. Okay, here's the break. And then I will grab myself new fresh tea. And I think I have the tea right beside me. And I will also play a song. So it will only be a few minutes. So let's say 10 minutes at max. So I will continue in 10 minutes. Do I say that right? Yeah. So at 9:22 approximately, or 9:20, I will continue. Jane, my ex-husband is Mickey. I should have known. Oh gosh. Oh, My ex-husband is Mickey. I should have known. Oh gosh. Can I ask Jane, do you mean he played Mickey Mouse or at Disney, or his name is Mickey? Or you mean something else? Or was he part of Mickey Mouse Club? That could be possible as well, of course. But if you want to answer, otherwise I'd love to hear it via Telegram. But, and to come back to the ears, because then that's a nice closure of this subject with the ears, that I had a personality who was called Minnie the Mouse. So I also wore these ears also in the carnival in the Netherlands. In the Netherlands there's also a carnival in February every year. And I was when I was a little girl, I was dressed as Minnie Mouse, and I loved it. With the polka dots. That was also programming in me, by the way, the polka dots. And also Scottish checker pattern cloth was also programming. Okay, my tea is cold. I will go for a song and then grab myself fresh tea. Yeah, I know I played it a lot, but I love this song. I'm still here. Because I wonder every day, I am also amazed that I'm still here alive and sitting with you and laughing. Because many of former survivors cannot laugh, cannot have joy. And that was never damaged to me. So
I got caught in the lights of some other man's spite, and now it seems as if my life bears the loss. I'm still here searching for everything I hold dear. I'm still here believing in you. Step out from the field. Used to feel good, yeah, in the old neighborhood.
Nobby, you will always make me smile. Earl Grey with hot cross bun and homemade butter here. Ooh, sounds great. Sounds really nice. Anja asks in Dutch, would you like to describe the music? Yeah, of course. I can send you the link, everyone, in the chat. That's a good suggestion. Anja, thank you. Dankjewel voor die suggestie. Ik zal hem nu... kan ik nu eigenlijk wel even doen? Volgens mij kan ik hem nog openstaan. Let me see. So, Facebook. Okay. Then using sound collection. Sunbeam Sting says, every time I watch this hangout, things click together. Oh, really? Well, that makes, yeah, that makes my heart sing to be a bit a magical expression. I'm in a magical mode today in this live stream, because we're talking about Disney, but also about the sad side of Disney, which I had to undergo. I will now look up that song for you, Anja. So. And you see now my face more light up. That is because the screen on which I opened Facebook is another web browser and I cannot do the dark mode, so it will be soon again a bit less bright. Where is it? I will do that from now on, that I will prepare these titles of the song. Where is it? Okay, here is the song. Okay, I will continue. And thank you so much for for your comment, Jane. She says, I can't believe you lost a son like that. Yeah, it's very sad. Yeah, very. It's beyond sad. And if I am fully in that pain, then yeah, I had my moments. I have my moments that I feel, that I grieve, not only for my son but also for Jennifer and for all the children I cannot be with, because that is the hardest thing also, that there is none of them in the physical I can just hug, you know. For the ones who are alive, some of them are in the deep state. One son, James, is in the secret black army. He works overall for the military, and he is an assassin. It is sad. He has a programming in him that if that programming is being ordered, that he would then end my life. That's also programming. I know it sounds bizarre, and I trust on the love and the protection, but this is the harsh truth of being a former MKultra and Monarch, also born into the deep state, also that I had, and with the many programming. Yeah, I did not only lose my son in a horrific way, but also other children and fetuses. And also from my own womb, not only from my eggs. My eggs were used heavily. Yeah, it sounds only maybe comical if I say that, but it is a very sad, harsh truth, and not only of mine, of many others, and also of the male former MKultras and Monarchs. They also were heavily used for their, to produce. If they would have, for example, the perfect genes or the perfect, original father and mother, because this is what the deep state does and wants. They want the most, for them, pure original bloodlines and preferences as well. And this is maybe even why I still survive till this very day. That is, I cannot explain why exactly. I wish I could, but better not. Maybe one day, who knows what the future will bring, because the world, besides the whole woke thing, what I wanted to talk about as well, but I'm not sure if I can get to that subject for this evening, because I'm still not finished with talking about Disney. Sunbeam Sting, I don't have lust to type in English. That's fine, Sunbeam Sting. I happily translate it for you. So I hope it's an example for everyone. Just type in Dutch. It doesn't matter. I will translate it for the people who watch from abroad. Sunbeam Sting, I educated me last Saturday, because I talked on Twitch. And things I searched and explained. Oh, you were in a panel, Sunbeam Sting. Live. Oh, that is nice. When was that? Oh, afgelopen zaterdag. Oh, last Saturday. Yeah, nice. And it's the most important thing, if it's inspiring. Sunbeam Sting, nothing funny about that. Yeah, you mean the word eggs. Yeah, maybe, yeah. It's, I'm amazed that I can say that now in a very, I maybe look emotionless when I talk about my children, but yeah, I learned to, of course, keep it at the background, my true emotions. but they are there. So I was listening to the Jitsi. Very interesting. Well, I missed that one, Sunbeam's thing. Was that maybe in the night or in the evening? Well, maybe another time I will hear you in the live stream. Must have sure also be fun and comical. But to come back to the subject. Okay. So, some thing. Yes, it was a bit on the late side. I think. Yeah, I'm not good in the evening, and certainly not when in all this transforming stuff I'm now in. So I also feel now I start to feel tired, but I'm talking for 2 hours almost. So for me, I totally accept that I don't have to fill precisely for 3 hours. You know, I learned a lot from live streaming. But nice to hear you had fun, Sunbeam Sting. And yeah, just nice. Okay, to come back to these Disney parks, another thing what I like to mention is that the park has several entrances, and of course they build more and more entrances and diversity in that. But to me, the entrances were very important, where I would enter to that park. And this has got to do with, I had an inner programming, and which was connected also to the porcelain programming. I know it's hard to connect, but it's connected to a certain group which was called the Beatles. The Beatles. And the Beatles songs were heavily used in my programming, and the Yellow Submarine. We all learned in the Yellow Submarine, the Yellow Submarine. Well, my personalities, when they heard that song, they all went in the Yellow Submarine. Oh man, yeah, I say that a bit with sarcasm, but it was meant to be connected to the nautic, I think it's called nautic, to the water programming in me and underseas, and also the under the sea programming with Ariel, the Princess Ariel, with the Little Mermaid. And that was also part of later on in the Disney park, like Cinderella, and many themed princesses are, well, all princesses I can name, they are active, and also in the cast members of in the Disney park. So that entrance, I also remember an entrance which looked like it was in blue. And it looked like antennas, and it looked like that upper part of a submarine in blue. And that entrance would then call up my programming next to that when I went through that gate with my handlers. And of course there were not the tourists and guests present. The park was closed at these times. And then it was necessary that I came through the gates. But overall, the tunnels were used, and there, as I said, there is also a tunnel straight, or there was a tunnel straight to Nevada desert, where I was also heavily abused, used, and trafficked towards the rituals there. And I talked in details for everyone who was interested already. Last year I talked a couple of times about giant rituals in Nevada desert, and you can find them by looking up with keywords on my YouTube and Twitch especially. I have kept up all the uploads and my live streams, so if you're interested in these also, I mean, I think it was also one of the live streams I was very detailed in many things. To come back to, that bear show. I forgot the name of that bear show in Disney. And it was actually very cute. You even saw a bear coming out of the ceiling, and it was a giant bear with a ballerina skirt, with a tutu, and country music. Now, country music was in my time very a lot of times also used for the programming, like the lyrics, and also some people who were country musicians, pretty famous in the world. I will not mention any names, but I think you can maybe imagine which artist. And also, one of them was not part of the programming. I believe he was not a programmer himself, but his songs were heavily used. And I do know that what I can say was that his maiden name was John. And yeah, that was, yeah, country music. This is why I still cannot really listen to country music. And I love the people who dance on country music, and I appreciate many country musicians. So it's not to be critical about it, but this is also an example of the scarring of the programming. And yeah, Sunbeamsting, you have also the land of Evermore in Dutch het land van ooit. That park is now abandoned for many years. Yes, I know. Yeah, the land van ooit. Yeah, it was not there for so long, and the man who created it, a Dutch singer, folk singer, yeah, I can only say his songs were also used in my programming. I'm laughing, but he had a song named, I'm not even sure if he knew, that is with a lot of artists, they don't know that their lyrics were used for programming, like a song which was called Anne, and also a song, a children's song, which was about a little duck. And the people in the Netherlands know which song I mean. It quacks, where was it quacks or something. It's a very cute song, but used for my programming, and many artists don't know that they are used or were used for programming. And this is again that divide, and that's the best way to keep things secret, that the people who create things don't know about the programming that is in it, like Disney Park at daytime with all the tourists there. It's the spirit of the Walt Disney, who supposedly loved children, and I experienced the other side, like also in these underground tunnels when I was there to come back to the Disney parks. It is haunted there. I'm not sure if other former monarchs talk about it, but I also felt a lot of haunting there. So spirits wandering there who were tortured, and even, I should maybe not mention that, but also tortured and being killed underneath the Disney park, because it is important that the demonizing is being kept alive, so that demons can still eat energies. And the fundament, specifically the tunnels underneath Disney Park, that was important, that they would be kept fed by spirits, by demon spirits. And this is maybe why, even with, if I was ever in daytime underneath in the tunnels, when the park was opened, and I was not in a visible programming for others, because I was also there in the underground tunnels at times when it was just doing the tourism day, etc. And then I did notice that the people there who worked there were always hurrying through these tunnels, and they also needed to be somewhere else in the park to play their part. But I always felt in the way they walked or ran, they were always a bit hasty and not at ease. So what the cause for that was, I did not get to know them ever, because I was not allowed to talk to them ever. But yeah, it is it had a very creepy mood. I did talk about the wands. Talking about fairy tales, like now I lost it, the words, but zippity zappity doo or some dippity duppity doo. You know, that's interesting that I don't know the words now, but it was the stepmom, the fairy mother or the fairy goddess of from the now I get mixed up. Now I get tired in my head. That's also interesting. So I think I maybe should close this subject about Disney, unless you of course have some questions. I will also check Rumble if there are questions. Park closed in 2007. And then the Evermore land, het land van ooit. I do love the giant stuff and so on, but I'm not sure, maybe it could have been used for programming as well, but that was perfect, of course, for letting personalities think they were little. But I have no recollections of that I ever was programmed there, but then I was already a grown up when it was park closed in 2007 and it was open. Was Land van Ooit, that was also with Kloontje, huh? Little Kloon. That was a name of a character in Land van Ooit. And she was always very hectic, very very energetic. But yeah, I have no programming of that in me. But the man who created his lyrics, but there are other Dutch singers and folk singers who, yeah, many of the songs were used in me and carnival songs, and that is sad, but yeah, it is, it's a pity, but yeah. Fortunately, because of the artists, the majority of artists were not involved, that then the purity of the songs and the creativity is there, the original creativity. So, and that was in the beginning when I was deeper programming, very confusing, because I was confused about, was now this artist or this pop group, was he or she now involved or not? But now I have my recollection of memories and I know now which artists were involved and were not, or partially, or a lot of them were MKultras themselves. So yeah, but yeah, this is and let me know if you have a question still about Disney. For now, I think this was quite Disney theme enough for me, because I also feel tired in my head. And yeah, I wanted to make a bridge towards the whole woke subject, like also that is a bit slightly connected to Disney, that Disney's drop in that it's beloved is also due to that movies create of late years that woke, yeah, I don't like the term, but many people know what I mean, the woke, so that there is it's too artificial. So every movie, every television show, it's for sure in the America. I'm not sure if it's maybe the people from England or other countries maybe know. I don't even know if it is in the Netherlands, because I don't watch anything what's on television on the Netherlands, that it is about that there is an exact amount of male and female. There is an exact amount of all types of people from certain countries, like someone from China, someone from Africa, African American, American African, I say it the wrong way. That's my tiredness. And everything needs to be in balance. And if it's out of that balance, what is being secured by certain people who produce that, who put the money into these productions, then it creates a very artificial balance. And I walked away from these movies and television shows more and more. And last couple of years I see as well Disney suffering from it, and also movies that the certain movies like Avengers, that it dropped in attention and in the audience. And I believe that that's what I wanted to say about this woke stuff. I always felt like there comes a moment that people just don't accept it. In my case, for example, that's also what I love to ask to other women. Not to specifically mention women, but if you recognize that if I see for too long, for example, two women being the hero in a movie and that they fight each other and they are the only heroines and the male people are being addressed as, how can I say it neatly, as a bit soft, then I go away from it because it's not natural. That's my own opinion. So I am not drawn into the storyline. I myself am a woman and I love being a woman and I have my male part in me. But I hate watching that artificial balance in women should be in power, women should be fighting spirits. It's great to have a fighting spirit. I have myself also a fighting spirit, but maybe you know what I mean. But I feel that this whole woke thing is imploding now, and it will solve itself with how natural balance is supposed to be, and feeling, being empathic, and that feeling is back, and the true creation, and that really talent, or people with talent are back into creating beautiful things like movies, because I love movies and television shows, watching them. Sunbeam Sting has a question. If you have Disney stuff that is older in your house, can that also attract demons? Because a friend of mine had that happen in his house and he had to call professionals to get rid of those ghosts, demons. Yeah, it depends. If you have Disney stuff that is older in your house, it is possible, yeah. It depends also what character and where it came from and how long was it in that Disney park and so on. Because there were, what I also remember from also Splash Mountain, and there were parts of, like also the main street. It's beloved by many people, the main street that you walk towards that beautiful fairy tale castle. And by the way, the castle and how it was created, the specific, I love how it's being balanced in the creativity. So Walt Disney, you can say what you have, whatever you want. He collected the most beautiful, best creators. But so the castle itself was not a bit demonized, but I felt in that main street always awful energy. So also in the shops there. So it depends where it was being bought. But yeah, it is very well possible. And it is interesting subject because dolls have the most chance of being possessed or demonized. And I hope I don't scare off anyone who has a doll in house, or it has a reason that in horror movies or in bit fantasy like movies or these horror type, that they place creepy dolls. It is no coincidence. They do that on purpose because dolls, because they look like a bit human shape, or have that they have a certain shape which is human like, and then it can be demonized. So I hope I answered that question. Nobby, only the UK British lot here in England watch that television thing. None of us English folks watch any of it. Is that so, Nobby? I mean, I see here in the Netherlands when I walk in the evening in a neighborhood, I see only television screens. I see only screens or gaming screens. So here in the Netherlands, I think people are still hooked to television. A lot. That's what I see. Delvetje, very sad that children are burdened with that wokeness. Yeah, that too. And I watched, I'm not sure if I should talk about that, but I don't want to touch upon that, this is what I mean. almost every subject, then I have to think about, is it too vulnerable? And that is also with the whole gender stuff. And it is sad that this happens to children, and that children are being forced often. They are often forced and stimulated with also the best interest of the parents. But there is a movie, maybe you heard of that, people who transitioned and now detransitioned. They made a movie, a documentary, and this documentary is now being withheld from being produced on YouTube. And it was a free, you could watch it free on YouTube, and it's now gone because some people did not like it. And it's sad stories what these people say. And this is also why I choose to talk about the woke subject, because I myself, in my programming, and also with the princess programming, for example, that was what I wanted to add. It's sideways related to Disney, but it is sad because a lot of television shows, if you see in a television show a man wearing a dress of a woman and it's being ridiculized, then I would say 99% of that is that it is a demonized television show. And I'm very saddened to say that, because if someone has that own choice of wanting to dress like whoever he or she wants, it's all freedom. It's what you feel you want, that's the most important thing. But in the television circuit, and I don't know if it's in the Netherlands the case, but I saw it in the USA, and sadly enough also specifically with television shows who had people from other races, so like African Americans, who were appalled to wear a dress and makeup and high-heeled shoes. And I watched of recent a television show, of which I always felt that it was a bit creepy, and I'm not sure if I should mention it, but maybe I should, but can't I say the title? But it is about family matters, and it was a very famous and well-known television series, and there is a main character who came half in season 1. He made an entrance in that series, and I never could watch him. And it's not about the person himself, but now I realize, and then I saw an episode in the television show of that both of the main character then had to wear a dress, a lady dress, and high-heeled shoes and a wig. And I know it's a sensitive subject, but I am truly with every one who wants to be a gender, the one you want, I was in the artist world. I had in my programming also, which I could call a friend from England. His real name was Freddie, and he was a friend of mine, and he was heavily used and abused. He was also part of MKultra programming and Monarch programming. And he is an example of having been used, but he was a gentle, kind spirit in the origin. And he was so, he also got sick, and I could not watch his, how he ended the part of this famous group which had the name of a queen, and you know possibly who I mean, and his real name was Freddie. So I myself had many friends, and also in my front life, friends who were gay, who were hetero, who were transsexual. I met them all, and they are the most of them are sincerely and true from the heart. But I want to make that, for me there is a difference in that my former programmed world is creating and pushing children into a certain role and of which they regret. But that movie is very interesting. So you can look it up on YouTube. I don't want to mention it now here on my live stream, because truly I don't want to offend anyone who is truly from the heart feeling your own choice of living. And I also am very open in that I have experience with both men and women, and I am hetero myself, and I was traumatized because I had these experiences with other women, but I know the experience. So I honor everyone who truly feels from the heart and truly feels the way he or she wants to live. But that children are being pushed and being thrown into this unsafety. It's horrific what happens. And I also had experience from close with dear friends who had this transition, and there are many things which happen when you transition. It's not simply like you just get rid of some parts of your body and then you are the one you want from within. It is horrific. I have seen people, friends I've known in the programmed world who had horrific symptoms and were sick because they transitioned, and of the hormones they had to swallow, and the injections and the changes, but also that they were in a pre-stage of when a female get, well, the hormonal stuff. We people of 50 plus women know what it is to go through that phase of going older, having being no longer fertile. So, but that is also what someone who transitions is confronted with, if that's being done in a very, in my opinion, too small age. So this is why I thought, well, why not simply do a live stream in which I share what I really feel about it, and also because it is what I came across in with Disney, that at the end I do think that things which will not fit, that people will not allow it any longer, but it needs to be that far cross borders that they will say no. And Tineke Jessie says, it's so sad for our children. Yeah, I really would recommend for everybody to watch on YouTube these men and women who transitioned and detransitioned, and some of them even cannot go back to detransition again fully. That's what I said, that the hormonal changes has done harm, and many other things. It's horrific what's being done, and yeah, it's also very painful for many of them who have did alterations to the body. But yeah, an emotional damage. So my heart goes out to everybody who is in that inner conflict, and I wish that leaders or people who are into companies who take care of television shows and productions would think about that side of it as well, the side effects, the horrific side effects. But yeah, I was in a world to come to back, and Disney, and with all the princess programming, and in the world I was in, also in the movie industry, but in the music industry, there was a lot of in these parties. Also that artists of groups, and they could be male or female, and that they were forced to dress as women or female, and that traumatized them, even if they were not in programming. It is a kind of demonizing as well, that it can be very traumatizing. And I'm not speaking of people who just like to do it as a hobby or with carnival, as just having fun and really liking it. I mean, when it's in a balanced and respectful way to others, it's totally fine. But this, I saw so much hurt in that world, and yeah. So it's still very, very close to me, these experiences. So, but yeah, that's a bit what I wanted to share specifically about it. And I hope that also in the creativity, like I love science fiction, I love, for example, also Doctor Who. I say it a lot that I don't like the last two seasons. And I just want to express, I want to have that freedom to express that I hate it that Doctor Who is changed suddenly, that he is original someone else, and I don't like it that it's being steered without really feeling, and yeah, what is wrong to, yeah, to stand for something, and that it, why should it be changed in this whole woke thing. I hate it, and I'm so saddened because my beloved television shows and movies like Star Trek and Doctor Who are all being influenced by this woke stuff, and that it has to be a certain amount of male and female leaders, and why not just how it's being created in the creativity flow. It's unhealthy what is being done, and specifically to children. So this is my rant about the woke stuff. Yvonne, a daughter of a friend of mine, is now a boy. Well, if it's done in a healthy way, really investigating also an extended emotional growth. That's what I really feel like. It's important that a person who wants to change first exercises that there will be not done physical changes before a certain age. I truly believe in that. And then with the utmost carefulness, and for the emotional balance, then only give, yeah, but that's my own opinion. But I'm not talking about, of course, someone who is grown up in a healthy, balanced family, and so on. But yeah, I know I have my background as having. Oh, you should. I wish you would know how many people who you see as a male or a female, of which I've seen in all these sexual orgies, being dressed up in bikinis, a male in bikini, female as male, but overall many men in bikinis and feminine shorts, feminine skirts, dresses, and so on. It's really bizarre, but it is the demonized part, and of course many of them are programmed themselves, or were programmed, because I'm no longer in that mind control world for, yeah, from now certainly 2010. So I'm amazed by how quickly this live stream went. I thought I have so much to talk about that it will cross the 3 hours, but it's now a bit past 10, and I am drained. I feel a bit drained in my head. I hope you liked this live stream, that you got a bit more insight in how that works, and yeah, my experiences. So, Delveltje, only 18 plus, or rather 25 plus. Yeah, that's what you mean. That yeah. I think I think there should be a certain time limit. Yeah, but there's another thing going on, because this is what I try to explain. I am not against transitioning. I am not against that a male wants to be a female, and the other way around. How you want to live, or with whom. It is totally your own decision, but it should be without being influenced by the demonized, devilish leaders of the world, or they call themselves leaders. They are pushing a certain agenda, and this is so confusing for many people maybe, but yeah, this is what I specifically wanted to mention. Like, there's a difference for me when it comes from a good heart. Then someone from a good-hearted spirit will not force anyone into some direction. And I see too much and too often now that the steering in certain direction. A mosquito bit me right next to right on my temple. It's very annoying. Oh, but I try not to scratch, but it's itching. Sunbeam Sting. The most problem I have with the trans people is that they now take over some women's sports and win all the prizes. Even in a cycle competition, all the women went on a kind of strike because a trans person won all the races. Yeah, there's a lot going on. I come a lot by. There was a very recent that I saw in Australia. In Australia, is that it's there very woke, very extremely woke, and the pushing the agenda, and that they're a surf company who sells surf stuff, surf accessories, and so on, and that they now ditched a woman who had lost her arm through a shark bite. I'm not kidding. She lost her arm, and she was the main. How do you say that? She was the main promoter for that brand of these surf accessories, and she was being pushed away by a transgender woman. And I try to be careful because I love people. I don't want to judge, but it's so sad. It's so sad. Why? Because I feel the agenda behind it. That's actually what I wanted to say. It's sad. And again, maybe the woman, the transgender woman, is really a kind woman, you know. So I'm not pointing at her, but it's the agenda behind it. History Mom. Hi, I just saw this. I want to encourage you to continue. I don't often pay attention when you're live. I might watch later, but don't stop. We need you. Oh, thank you so much, History Mom. Thank you. Thank you. It certainly helps. And yeah, thank you for your words, encouraging words. Delvertje. Well, I think these sports. Oh, that is to Sunbeam's thing. It is incomprehensible, your losses. What means incomprehensible? I know the word, but I will look it up, Jane. I want to understand what you say. Well, why not do a specific category? That's also fine for me, like a category of transgender woman and transgender man. I mean, you have also the Olympics for handicapped people. That would be also a solution. I'm not against that. So, but it is the agenda behind it. Oh, and I feel now a bit withheld from speaking out about it, because I think all the time, like, you have to say it's a yes world. They want to create a yes world. Yes, of course I agree. Why am I not allowed to say no, or that I don't agree with it, while I do respect everyone who prefers to really from within want to be how he or she wants? But yeah, I'm incomprehensible. Not to be understood, not intelligible. A language which is incomprehensible to anyone outside the office. I apologize for my coughing. I get a dry throat. it is. Uh, it is. Thank you so much. Now I understand, Jane. My losses. Thank you so much. Thanks so much for your for all your translation. It's so great. Thank you so much. En Delvertje en Sunbeam Sting. Thanks. It was illegal to agree pre 1957. Yeah? Was it? Okay. But yeah, this is what I also tried to explain, that in my opinion it will also drop. Because I feel it in myself. It's what I said. I learned in my Black Ops, and I had a military training. But I feel as that example of when I see in a television show too many women have a leadership role, and make men like softies. I really am, frustrated, because I am honest. I love a man who is a man. Yeah, I just like that. But also has a soft side, but is a man. I just love that. But that's my own individual opinion and choice. So, it's not that man has to be harsh and all the time tough. No, I like a male man. That's what I try to say. But everyone is different in that. And then that male man can still have a feminine side, because I love men who have a feminine side. So this is also why I had friends also in the artist world who were gay. And I love these people. I also in the front life, I met all kinds of people, of all kinds of preferences. So I love you. You know that? I do love you. I hope you feel me, because that's the most important thing. And this is why I was also scared to talk about this subject. But I truly love you. The majority of these people endured a lot in life, have had a tough growing up, being accepted how they feel. So I understand you, and I will always defend you. Always. Sunbeam Sting says, what mailman? Oh, mailman. Yeah, what mailman? The mailman. The postman is how they call that, Sunbeam Sting. But I get the interpretation that it sounds different to people from Netherlands. Not noble. You have a very comical language. Us blokes weld and dig and stuff. Yeah, that too. But men can create. Wow! I am following a YouTube channel. He's a beautiful man. He has an amazing feminine side. He's very feminine in his gestures, but creates beautiful 18th century dresses for men. Oh, and suits. It's amazing. So it's very individual. For me, it's, do I like someone yeah, that's of course counts for everyone. Oh, but I do hope I get the message through that I don't want to offend anyone. It is never my intention. Peter Post. Peter Post. That is an animation series, isn't it? Or am I now confusing Buurman and Buurman, which was also a series, but Nobby Noble. If his name's Daphne, I won't employ him. Okay, yeah, well, everyone has the right to her own opinion, of course. Just wanted to express finally and dare to express what I feel. And that it's important that we can keep expressing what we feel. Specifically what we feel. And I feel Let it happen that the world says no to evil. Yeah, all at the same time. Coincidental, all at the same time. I wish that would happen. I could be wrong. It's just a thought. It's just a dream. Postman pet is done like buurman and buurman. Ah, alright. Yeah, it does ring a bell in me. And I had to think about, we have in the Netherlands, what is ooievaar in English? There's a type of bird, not a bird, a bird. It is connected to birth, and this bird, it's very well known in the Netherlands. Ooievaar. Ooievaar in English. Ah. A Welsh stork. Ah, thanks. Oh, you're amazing. Your support in translating so quickly. You're quicker than me, than myself. Stork. And this symbolism was also put in my programming and also connected to Disney and to amusement parks. So that in that stork, in his how you say that? I have to say it well, because at one time I say in the USA, when I was there in 2010, I say a certain word for een bek van een vogel. En ik zal het even in het Nederlands zeggen. And then I got many laughs from men who were there at the petrol pump present, and they were laughing out loud because I said something sexual, which I was not intended to do. So, bek van een vogel in English. Yeah, I will check. Is that a snap? I don't know. I will first check, because I mentioned the word in 2010. A beak of a bird. Beak of a bird. Nobby nobble. Beak. Yeah, a beak of a bird. And in that beak of a bird, that it would hold then a cloth in which a baby was being brought to the mother. And that was a story being told to children. Is it also a story being told for the people abroad? Well, it was, I believe, an older tradition. I'm not sure if it's true, but in my memories it was still told when I was very little, that when I saw a mother with a baby, and that they then told me like that the stork then brought the baby home to a certain family, and that was to avoid explaining that a child is born from a womb. But I'm not sure if it's also abroad being told like that. And the cradle. The cradle, yeah. Yeah, the cradle. You have a nursery rhyme, that the cradle will drop from a branch or something from a tree. And that was also used, that nursery rhyme, in my programming. Oh, so many lyrics and nursery rhymes were used. No wonder I had in the tens and the hundreds of thousands personalities. I'm not kidding. I had incredible, amazing lot of these personalities. Delvertje, we had 2 nests of stork in my village last summer. 3 young ones grew up. Oh, I love them. I love storks. When I see a stork, then I also feel a certain symbolism. Do you also have that there is when you meet a certain animal, or when it crosses the path, or when you're walking somewhere and then an animal crosses your path, that there is a certain symbolism or energy radiance from it? I have that with stork. I have it also with I have to look it up again. Egeltje. I love egeltjes. Egel in English. I know the word, but not for now. It is awful. Hedgehog. I love hedgehogs. And to me, it symbolizes something. Or at certain times in the season, suddenly then a frog is jumping in front of me, and that that's to me a certain symbolism, or it gives me a certain sign or a message. And it's totally not meant as that I'm floating out of the body. No, I'm also very earthly bound. But I truly feel a lot when I see a certain animal, and specifically when it's a very special animal. But I'm curious if you also have that. And I have a park nearby. I live nearby a park which has a stork always for years already. So nice, and a beautiful park as well. So animals. And Nobby shows, is that a snake? It's too small for me. Oh, a hedgehog and a snake I seem to see. Or is it a worm and then the hedgehog is chasing the worm? Oh gosh. Well, I find hedgehogs so cute. And you have, of course, Sonic the Hedgehog, famous hedgehog. I played a lot of these games with that American man when he was younger. Dus yeah, very sweet memories. A white heron. What is a heron? A heron. White heron. What is a heron? A heron? I will look it up. Or maybe you can explain what is a heron. Oh. Hey. That's weird. Oh. Oh, a reiger. Yeah, very elegant birds. Very elegant, solid birds are they. Now that word I never heard of, the English word. I learn a lot this evening as well to translate Dutch English, English Dutch. Nobby, what's your thoughts on dragons? Dragons did exist. They do still exist in the center of the earth, like other mythical beings, unicorns and so on. And there are giants living in the center of the earth who safekeep these mythical beings. Dragons are very honorful beings. And this is why they are being shown and depicted in many fairy tales, of which the prince is, sadly enough, also that it's about to slay the dragon. But dragons were once for humanity and serving humanity, and it's sad that in fairy tales these hero princes have to slay dragons. It always saddens me, because dragons are beautiful, kind-hearted spirits. And even if you don't believe in it, they are qua energy beings amazing. Very strong energy. Saint George is England's dragon slayer. Yeah, it's a pity that there are dragon slayers, you know. I mean, I love tough princes who fight for the good, but not to slay dragons. No, dragons are in origin good, kinded spirit beings. But yeah, a lot of our history is being kept away, and like mythical beings, like unicorns. And unicorns is now also being, speaking of woke, unicorns, it's also being used heavily in programming. I see it last year's increasing in cartoons and animation films and so on. The unicorn symbolism, and it saddens me because it's a really positive, helping spiritual being, and to connect our galactic, our cosmic connection towards the cosmic and to the creation. Sunbeam Sting. There is even an old book from 1660 called Johnston's detailed description of the nature of the four-footed animals, fishes and bloodless water beasts, birds, squiggle beasts, serpents and dragons. It's in Dutch, but it has multiple sorts of dragons. I love stories about dragons. And what occurs to me is that there are many stories and many books who write about dragons, and then there is only one left. That's part of actually expressing that we should be very, very caring about the dragons. But that occurs to me that in a lot of movies and books, the dragon, there is only one left. I hardly can watch these movies, but yeah. Why are they pink on YouTube though? So, yeah. Pink is next to that it's a healing, it's a soft healing color. I have it also in my background. It softens the mood and it's a healing color. But yeah, the pink sweet colors is also the other side of the programming, and many pink programming. Like I also had the pink princess programming, and that was the connection to the little finger, to the pinky finger, little pinky, pink. We call it in the Netherlands pink, or pinky. And specifically when I am left-handed, then when I drink something, I learned to keep my pink a bit more in control, but if I have no attention on it, then I have all the time my pinky like up like this. So that was perfect to connect. Yvonne, my aura is pink. That's then you're really in a beautiful balance, Yvonne. I think with pink, it's a beautiful color, and very nice also for heading for the evening and for the sleep, the rest, the bed rest. And speaking of bed rest, I think I will be heading for my own bed and my rest. Although after a live stream I am tired, and then when I finally lay on my bed I cannot sleep. So I hope this time I will sleep. The majority of times after live stream I only sleep maybe between 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning. So yeah, I don't know why. Apparently it's I'm tired afterwards, and then finally in my bed I'm awake. Delvgy, you look good in pink too, Ray. Thank you. Yeah, with the pink background. Yeah, and I wear orange. It's a bit orangey, salmon orangey. Yeah, thank you so much, Tineke Jessie, for the wishes. Everyone, I wish you all an amazing continuation of the weekend, and wish you well. Wish you also for the people who are heading for the night, wish you a good night's rest, evening. And I will check also to Raid, who is live. Has someone a nice suggestion to Raid? Put on some relaxed music before the bed. Oh gosh. I will ignore the Nightbot Nobby. Have you seen your dog this week? I had to visit this week. I had to visit this week. You mean the dog walk? Yeah, I had it twice this week, and it was lovely. I love the dog. We have a beautiful bonding, and that's so we are very good together, and get more and more used to it. So coming week I will meet another dog, a smaller dog. And this is from an organization in the Netherlands, and I love them. I don't think I should mention them. I don't want to reveal too much. But it is such beautiful people. They keep track on if the owner has approached me, and yeah, it's close to where I live, in a few minutes walk. So, and yeah, I keep on loving these bear animations. Sunbeam Sting. One man C band. All right, maybe I will do that one because I don't see a lot live now. Well, why not? One man C band is music, so why not? And yeah, I hope to see you next week. And next week will be Dutch. So, and then the week following on Saturday will be English. And I try so many times to go live through the week at daytime here in the Netherlands, and I'm tired of it, but it's almost impossible with changes of working schedule of someone, and I don't want to interrupt, of course, the rest and peace of this person. So but yeah, and yeah, I hope you liked this and see you all next time. Love you all, and amazing that you were present, and thank you all for subscribing. I forgot to mention that. Please subscribe and help me grow my channel. Thank you so much. Like, comment, and yeah, see you next time. Love you. Bye bye, everyone. Oh, offline. It's offline. One man see one man. Oh, he's offline. Oh gosh, nah. Offline. Oh, I did the wrong one. No, I made a mistake. Maybe I can still rate. I don't know. That is what happens to me so often. I don't think I can do that now. Okay, dear people. Did you know which channel I rated? I have to share that. It's really funny. One man channel. So I apparently wanted to go to a one man channel. Do you get what I mean? Maybe not, but isn't it interesting? So next time better. Yeah, one man and his channel. Yes, he has 0 followers. So I rated a one man channel with 0 followers. So it is not even a channel. Alright, dear people, a blooper, a giant blooper. I will go away quickly because I feel ashamed. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time. Have a wonderful remain of the weekend, and I see you next time. I typed it wrong. Yeah, for sure. Okay. Alright, bye bye everyone. Ciao, arrivederci, bonsoir.